was all excited last week and I decided I wanted to do Pop-In Day. And it just happened to fall on a shower day, which I know sounds ridiculous to some people listening to this, and to others that's just going to make all the sense in the world. Sometimes showers can be, no, not even sometimes, at least for me, showers are absolutely exhausting. And it's really hard to pull that off every day. And you go a lot of times looking pretty hideous. And I'm very new to YouTube and still very self-conscious about being on camera. In fact, I sometimes can't believe I'm doing this because I really hate seeing myself on camera. But I really believe in this, so I've decided I need to get over that and stop being so vain. So anyways, but I'm still a little too self-conscious to just kind of go on the way I look, because trust me, you have no idea the way I looked before I did my hair and my makeup today. Not even human. So anyways, last week I went ahead and had my shower, all excited, did my video, and went to upload it, did my edits, and in true Jan fashion, it was too long, and I had forgot that I couldn't go on that long. So I tried to do more edits, didn't work. So anyways, what I decided is to wait and try again this week. I'm going to keep an eye on my time, try my best. We'll see how I do. I'm keeping it to a minimum. Not really known for doing that. I'm very good at making a long story longer. Or I'm very good at making a short story long. So anyways, but what I wanted to talk to you about, and what I did talk about last week, was Psalms 139. And this, although I've known this chapter from years before, it's just coming in more recently to mean different things to me. So I just thought that I would run it by you guys, and I was hoping it would kind of be thought-provoking, and that you guys would find it as comforting as I have. I'm going to just start at verse 1 and quickly read a few verses. So Psalms 139 verse 1 reads, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my laying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to obtain." And I just want to quickly scooch down to a part I really like, verse 13. "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God, how vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of the sand. When I awake, I am still with you." So, like I said, I have read this verse over the years. And just recently, I had gone over it again. And I had just picked out a couple of things that just meant different things to me now. One of them was, I really love the verse, chapter 4. "Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely." And the reason I love that so much is there's just times where, whether you're so overwhelmed with thoughts that you almost can't form exactly how you feel about it. Or sometimes you're just too ill to be able to really even express when you're talking to God how you feel. And there has been many times where I have just said to him, I know you know. I know you know. And I knew that I didn't have to articulate it, I didn't have to explain it, that he truly understood what my request to him was, what my thoughts were, what my needs were. And that I just found that verse so comforting. I loved that he knows it before a word is on my tongue. So I really liked that. Sorry, I'm having to bring windows up and down here. It's my son's computer, and I'm not 100% as comfortable with it as I am my own. But mine doesn't have a camera, unfortunately. Another verse that I really liked, I like when you go down to verse 13 and it says, For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. And when it says down on verse 16, Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. I love that too. I love that all my days were ordained for me. They were written in his book before one of them came to be. And it reminded me of a story, and just how far back God's hand in my life goes. And I'm going to keep an eye at my time and try my best to tell that story in a short amount of time. Okay, guys, this is a slight edit because I didn't tell that story in the time frame that I should have. So we're going to do a little edit, and I'm going to try to retell it a little shorter. What I was saying is that I can really see how God's hand has been in my life since before I even came into this world. And in fact, I wasn't, according to the doctors, even supposed to be in this world. My mom had a really difficult pregnancy, and she lost a lot of blood to the point that she had had 2 blood transfusions. The doctors really did not feel that I could survive with the amount of blood loss that she had. So they told my parents that I would probably not be able to survive that, or that there would be some great difficulties from that. I am really blessed to have parents that are prayer warriors and that didn't accept that and that didn't give up. And they didn't believe that they were going to lose me at that time. So my parents prayed, and they prayed. And I've heard my dad say this before, and I always liked it. You know, my dad said that people say that you're not supposed to tell God what to do. But through this story, my dad realized that sometimes God doesn't mind you doing that, because he says he told God to save his baby. And God did that. And, you know, my parents, my dad said how counted all 10 fingers and toes. And my poor mom, back then, we're talking about 40 years ago, I was 4 pounds. I'm not sure how many ounces, but I was tiny. So I had to be in a, you know, of course, an incubator. But my mom wasn't even allowed to be in the same room with me. If you can imagine, she had to look through glass, like through the room, into another room. She wasn't even allowed to touch me. That still breaks my heart for her, because my boys were preemie, and although I couldn't hold them, I could at least touch them. So I still feel for my mom when I think about her having to just look from one room into another room. But my parents, thanks Mom and Dad, they prayed me through that, and, you know, here I am. So I can really look at that chapter and say that God's hand was upon me from the very beginning. And, you know, I've been really reminding myself lately, I know that I've mentioned I have a diagnosis now, which took me well over 15 years to get, and I'm still having difficulties with getting good treatments. I'm still very bedbound, and I'm really trying to remind myself lately of something. I've realized that all the heartache throughout the years, I've gone to some doctor's appointments lately that have been extremely frustrating and heartbreaking, and I always tell myself before I go into these appointments, okay, have no expectations. Just go in there expecting that nothing's going to come of this. And then you're not going to come out heartbroken. And for some reason, I still come out of these appointments shattered every time. And I've realized that there's probably a very good reason that happens, is because I'm always hanging on to that hope. And I've decided I'm never going to stop hanging on to that hope. But I have realized something about these appointments, and I realized about even the series of events through my life. And what I've been thinking about in finding YouTube and finding others that tell their stories, I thank all of you so much, because you've made me realize that every heartbreaking appointment or every ER visit that was a total disaster, all these years of stories upon stories of not being able to find help, this is all just part of my story. This doesn't mean that it's all in vain. And what a difference that makes to me now, to know that something I went through, I can now help somebody else by going through it. And it's just been rejuvenating for me to know, even my last appointment that didn't go well, I tried to tell myself that's okay, because you're going to teach them. You're going to teach them. You're going to be able to go back when you figure all this out, and you're going to be able to teach them that things they didn't know for you, that the next person that comes through. And that's a huge goal, and I'll go into that more and even more on my channel. I would like to get into that, what my goals are upon going through all these things. And that's a huge one, is the medical system and how we're treated and what a lot of us have to go through. And I would like to somehow make changes. I'm praying to see if this is something that God wants me to do in my life. And if it is, then I'll move forward with that. But what He's made me realize lately is that it's all part of my story. And my story started all those years ago from them telling my mom that I wasn't going to be born, to my parents believing and praying me through, and to me sitting here today, being able to talk to you. So it's kind of been exciting to me to think of things that way. I'm looking at my time, and I can't remember what my other time is, so I better go so that I can actually get this off to you guys this week. Thanks for listening, guys. It really makes a huge difference to know that your story and your story and what you have to say might actually make a difference in somebody's life, and that's a pretty wonderful thing. So thank you, and we will talk again soon, hopefully. Okay, bye.